Trump's State of the Union address, an amazing speech, a necklace, and a secret in plain sight. Wow, what a speech. Tonight I ask you to choose greatness. This line alone sums up all the high aspirations this man has for our country. It's not about one guy being low or another guy being high or kicking anything. It's about all of us being great. What a lesson. Look at the polls. This speech was pure political genius. Of course, the fake news and its horde of human bots, possessed influencers, and other social media hybrid creatures focused on something else, something low, something meaningless. This time it was about the maestro's tie. When I saw this, I had to determine if this was another coded message from the maestro. I looked around and found the sequence that helped answer this question. As you can see, when the maestro steps in, his tie is perfectly straight. It is only after he shakes hands with Representative Billy Long that it's naturally displaced. There was therefore no rationally intended message with the tie. However, for those who know how the spirit operates in the material realm, Blue Kachina is the door. All this got me thinking. I took a closer look at Nancy's necklace. Did you notice that during the maestro's speech it was heavily leaning to the right? Was it a fashion fancy or the way the necklace was designed? A picture of Nancy entering Congress shows it's none of the above. Her necklace was perfectly straight. It was also perfectly straight as she was standing next to Vice President Pence, awaiting for the President of the United States. It only got displaced at some point during Trump's speech. Next, we have to determine, just like we did for the maestro's tie, how the necklace was displaced. To remain consistent, let's stay with the Fox News feed. Look at the screenshots at 3112 when the President of the United States introduces the First Lady of the United States, and at 3540 when he introduces Joseph Riley, Irving Walker, and Herman Zeitchik. Nancy's necklace has noticeably moved to the right. We now know something happened between 3112 and 3540. At 3133, the maestro confirms his 1641 tweet about unity by saying these amazing lines. Millions of our fellow citizens are watching us, gathered in this great chamber, hoping we will govern not as two parties, but as one nation. Nancy claps, and as she is sitting down, this happens. Bingo. Nancy displaced her necklace and made it lean to the right immediately after the President of the United States called for unity. Coincidence? Is she signaling she is ready to move the red and blue pearls of the House more to the right and meet Trump halfway? Is she saying yes to Trump's call? Did she hear Trump's warning and is now ready to stand up to her unhinged left wing? Is she ready to really play ball and put an end to what Trump called further in his speech, ridiculous partisan investigations? Let's take a closer look at the tweet. There's LSOTU equals 87, the same value as I need a sign. This is Trump coding his call for unity. Do you want to work with me for the benefit of the American people, or do you want a confrontation you now know you will inevitably lose? Let me know. The timestamp's in 1641. Let's go to Q 1641. We find the line, share blue. Do you see it? This blue is the group of moderate Dems Trump is inviting Nancy to share with him to make Congress work. These reasonable Dems could be spotted as Trump was entering the House. They were the ones trying to shake his hands or even get their hats autographed. Notice at 27:23 how one of them insistently taps on Trump's back to get to shake his hand, and how Minority Leader McCarthy skillfully makes the connection. Politics at its finest, folks. Now you know that Nancy's necklace represents the House and that its colors were not chosen randomly. Red for Republicans, blue for Dems. Nancy is an experienced politician, and she knows that when her opponent has demonstrated his skills and power, the smart thing to do is to accommodate him as much as she can, and that is what the necklace leaning to the right means. Did you notice Adam and his little white bodyguards, Cortez and company? Look, soon it's going to get bloody between Nancy and her far left wing, I can tell you that. Speaking of Adam, Peruvian coffee for those who saw the preceding tweet was about him. Capital letters, MILNYTUSLNY add up to 184. Same value as sports betting. The maestro is referring to the bets about Adam in my previous post. Look at the timestamp, 12:08 p.m. Let's go to Q1208. It talks about Adam Schiff. Coincidence? It says expand further and pulls in Wendy, Hussein, and Allison Mack. It also connects to an article about the death of Mariah S. Coogan. The maestro is letting us know that the conjecture linking Adam Schiff to bets via the State of the Union date was over the target. In addition to the heat building up on the Russia probe leaks, Adam Schiff is also targeted by what we, the Q community, already know about what happened at the Standard Hotel. The process is launched. Now you know what Adam was signaling when surrounding himself with all these little white bodyguards. Now question, who do you think the maestro is talking to when he codes in his tweet, "I need a sign"? Do you remember Nancy's scarf on the 33rd day of the shutdown? The scarf with the Chinese colors? Who do you think really controls our corrupt politicians, planted businessmen, and fake news media? The Russian hoax was created as a smokescreen so that the American people could not spot who they really worked for. Q2351, look here, Russia. Do not look here, China. In this article, you will learn how China controls an international media network and how it's activated. It's fascinating. If you are not aware that America's wealth has been deceitfully exported to China, which in turn spread its tentacles in America and worldwide with the help of our top politicians, businessmen, and fake news media operators, you are missing 90% of the Q conversation. China's economic success is artificial and was only possible because our former politicians allowed it. This is why the maestro does not consider President Xi, who also has his deep state franchise, as an enemy. He does not blame it on the Chinese. He blames it on our stupid and treasonous political and business leaders. Q1959, China hacked HR server? False. Access was granted. The maestro's strategy is to correct this by attacking the very foundation of this artificial success. Hence the trade war, Hawaii, and other asphyxiating geopolitical moves like Venezuela or the recent U.S. military operations in Africa. This integrated economic warfare approach is what General Mattis did not see and that Trump is running behind the scenes. It's devastating. Soon the fruit will be ripe and China will have to accept Trump's checkmate and negotiate with him a real trade deal with real numbers and real currency. Q2378, all inside roads to China are being closed. America is no longer for sale. Q. In the meantime, President Trump and President Xi have to establish trust and show what they respectfully control. This gives me the opportunity to keep my promise and tell you who tipped off CNN about Roger Stone's arrest. I know it looks like two different things, but bear with me. You'll see the connection very soon. Did you notice that despite being the first on the case, CNN remained evasive about the number of vehicles and FBI officers dispatched to raid Stone's house? The rest of the media quoted Stone and informed us there were 29 FBI agents and 17 vehicles. This, in CNN language, is translated to a dozen officers and a number of law enforcement vehicles. Why is CNN avoiding these numbers? Of course they hate the number 17 equals Q, but there's more. This number 29 stands for a lamb equals 29. You caught that Mueller got Manafort first, then targeted Corsi, then Stone. Why? Because he's moving his way up. Q1009, why is Mueller going after inside plants? Stone is a sacrificial lamb allowing Mueller to gather more info and get to the big guys. Q2102, what happens if Mueller proves Free Speech Systems LLC, aka InfoWars, is linked to a foreign intel agency or other non-domestic entity? Another function of the sacrificial lamb is that Stone lied to Congress, and his arrest sets the stage for the future arrest of all those who lied to Congress, as rightly pointed out by our excellent Sarah Sanders.
Look, I'm not an attorney. I haven't read that document. I'm not going to get into things I don't know. What I do know is that this has nothing to do with the president, has nothing to do with the White House, and beyond that, I'm not going to get into.
Have you spoken to the president about Roger Stone?
I've spoken with the president a number of times.
Today, have you spoken since this indictment?
I have spoken with the president.
Now you know why Stone's arrest had to be mediatized. But then, how do you activate the fake news media when they hate you? Answer: you talk to their boss. If you are attacked by an angry dog, would you rather negotiate with the dog or with the one holding the leash? Look at the timestamp of the maestro's tweet about CNN, 11:16 a.m. Let's go to Q1116. It says, "Thank you, Xi. Good start." Do you see it? The White Hats activated China to tip off CNN, and they are thanking them for doing so. This achieved two things. Number one, China gave proof of their control over the media. And number two, tested and verified comms at intermediary level. The intermediary level comms with China were skillfully shut down by the maestro to destabilize their intel assets in the U.S. This worked so well, the Chinese ambassador epically complained about it in front of an astonished Chris Wallace.
Are you clear who President Trump listens to on trade issues, whether it's moderates like Kudlow and Mnuchin or hardliners like Navarro?
You tell me.
You have confusion about this? I mean, that's obviously part of your job as the Chinese ambassador, to be able to report back to Beijing who has the president's ear.
Honestly, I've been talking to ambassadors of other countries in Washington, D.C., and this is also part of their problem.
What?
They don't know who is the final decision maker. Of course, presumably, the president will take the final decision. But who is playing what role? Sometimes it could be very confusing.
Now you know why the maestro compared negotiating with China to negotiating with Chuck and Nancy. It's one and the same thing, except in one case. The dog does not try to bite and knows how to clap. Q2496, item used when walking a dog. Q.
For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad.
I'm sure everyone will agree with me that that State of the Union address was by far one of the greatest that